right, let's dive into Divi's Laboratories earnings report for Q3 FY25. It seems like they've had a pretty solid quarter, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I mean, looking at the numbers, they've definitely shown some impressive growth, especially in their consolidated total income. It's quite a jump from the previous year.
Yeah, so what do they actually do? What's their business model, in a nutshell?
Well, Divi's is primarily in the business of manufacturing active pharmaceutical ingredients, or APIs, as well as intermediates and nutraceutical ingredients. They operate on a global scale with a presence in the US and Europe through their subsidiaries. So it's a pretty big operation.
Gotcha. And I see here they've got a new facility up and running, right? In Kakinada, I think.
That's correct. Part of their Kakinada project, specifically Unit 3, started commercial operations on January 1st, 2025. The remaining part of that project should be up and running in about 6 months. So that's some good news for their production capacity.
Okay, so let's get into the financials, starting with the income statement. What are some key takeaways?
Well, for the quarter ended December 31st, 2024, the consolidated total income reached 2,401 crore rupees, which is a significant increase from 1,950 crore rupees in the same quarter last year. And the profit after tax, or PAT, jumped to 589 crore rupees compared to 358 crore rupees. So both are substantial gains.
Wow, that's a big jump in profit. What about the 9-month period? Did they see the same kind of growth?
Yes, the trend continues for the 9-month period. Their consolidated total income reached 7,041 crore rupees, up from 5,804 crore rupees in the previous year. And their PAT came in at 1,529 crore rupees compared to 1,062 crore rupees. So yeah, it's consistent growth across the board.
Okay, that's good to see. Any one-time items or anything that skewed the numbers?
Well, there was a forex gain, but it was actually smaller this quarter than last year. This quarter, they had a gain of 10 crore rupees compared to 18 crore rupees last year. So it actually didn't play a major role in the impressive results. For the 9-month period, the forex gain was slightly higher, 38 crore rupees against 32 crore rupees, but not a huge impact either way, really.
So no major anomalies there. That's good. What about the standalone numbers, just to compare?
On a standalone basis, which means just Divi's itself, without the subsidiaries, their total income for the quarter was 2,379 crore rupees, and their PAT was 594 crore rupees. And for the 9-month period, their total income was 6,927 crore rupees, and PAT was 1,542 crore rupees, mirroring the growth we saw in the consolidated numbers.
Right. So the standalone and consolidated numbers are pretty closely aligned. Let's talk about the balance sheet. Any red flags there?
I don't see any major issues from what we have here. Their assets seem stable, and they've made capital expenditures of 433 crore rupees in the quarter and 557 crore rupees for the 9-month period, with a big chunk of that, around 418 crore rupees, going into the Kakinada project.
So they are investing in future growth, it seems like. What about debt or liabilities? Anything concerning there?
Well, there aren't specifics on debt levels in this release, but based on the available information, there's nothing that screams solvency or liquidity risk. I would need to see the full balance sheet for that, though, to be sure.
Okay, that's fair. So next up, let's consider their cash flow situation. Any highlights there?
The report doesn't give us the full cash flow statement, unfortunately. However, the significant capital expenditure shows they are using their cash to expand their operations, which, in my opinion, is a positive indicator for future growth.
Right. So they are actively investing, not just sitting on cash. What about any dividend declarations?
This report doesn't mention any dividend declarations, unfortunately. So no record or payment dates for us to discuss right now, sadly. We would need additional info for that.
Okay, that's a shame. So no dividend news in this particular report. Got it. Now, moving on to the segment performance analysis. Anything to dissect there?
Well, actually, the report states that Divi's operates in a single reportable business segment, which is the manufacturing of APIs, intermediates, and nutraceutical ingredients. So no breakdown by segment in this one, I'm afraid.
Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Let's jump to some key financial ratios next.
Sure. Although we don't have all the information to calculate all ratios, based on the profit figures and the revenue, we can see they're showing increased profitability this quarter. But without the full data, we can't do a detailed analysis. Disclaimer, we advise investors to check with certified experts before taking any investment decisions.
Right, that makes sense. So we're limited by the info we have, but it looks promising. Now, let's talk trends and comparisons. How does this quarter stack up against their recent performance?
It's clear that there's been a strong upward trend over the past few quarters. The revenue and profits have increased significantly compared to the same quarter last year, and even sequentially compared to the previous quarter.
And what about their dividend history? Do they usually pay dividends at a certain time?
As we've said, we don't have details in this report regarding dividends, but comparing their history to industry peers, we'd need to look at past annual reports for dividend trends and timing.
Okay, fair enough. It would be good to know more about their payout history. So, what about the outlook for the company moving forward?
Well, with the new Kakinada facility coming online, we can expect increased production capacity and revenue growth. Management is also optimistic, and this seems to be supported by the numbers. And they've reappointed their CEO, Dr. Kiran S. Divi, which shows confidence in leadership.
So, they're expanding, they have good leadership, and the financial results look good. Are there any potential risks we should be aware of?
The report doesn't specifically mention risks, but regulatory changes, competition, and market conditions could always pose challenges. We also don't have insight into their forward-looking financial guidance, so that would be good to know in the future.
That's true. There are always potential headwinds, of course. What about potential future dividends? Any insight there?
Again, without a specific dividend announcement in this report, I'd say we'd have to wait and see for their next financial disclosure. We would be keeping an eye out for those record and payment dates, though, as they're quite important for shareholders.
Absolutely. Those dates are crucial for investors. So, what's our conclusion on Divi's for this quarter?
Well, overall, they've had a very strong quarter, showing significant growth in revenue and profit. They're investing in future growth with the Kakinada project and seem to have a stable financial position.
Right. And despite no dividend details in this report, their overall financial performance is quite positive.
Exactly. Their operational expansion and increased profitability paint a promising picture for the future,
All right. That's a pretty thorough overview of Divi's. It'll be interesting to see how they perform in the next quarter.
For sure, definitely worth keeping an eye on, especially, for dividend information.
Indeed. Well, thanks for breaking it all down. It was really helpful.
My pleasure. Always happy to dig into the numbers. And hey, if you're enjoying this, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, totally. And we'll be back soon with more financial analysis. Until next time.
Sounds good. See you soon.